What if the reason the truth hurts is because it threatens the very story that's been keeping us safe? We say we want clarity. We say we want answers. But when truth knocks on the door, most of us pretend we're not home. Why? Because truth doesn't come in gently. It tears through illusions like a blade, precise, brutal, and honest. Before we dive in, take a moment. If this resonates already, if you've ever chosen a beautiful lie over a difficult truth, subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who's ready to go deeper. What we're about to explore isn't just information, it's a mirror. Today's reflection is about why the truth wounds us more than the lie ever could. It's not because the truth is evil. It's because the lie became shelter. Somewhere in our unconscious, we built walls to survive, walls made of denial, distraction, and half-truths. And in that dark architecture, our shadows began to grow. Carl Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." Viktor Frankl reminded us that when meaning is lost, we seek comfort, often at the cost of authenticity. And Gabor Maté has shown how even our addictions are attempts to soothe pain we never fully named. So the question is, what part of you would rather bleed quietly in the dark than be exposed to the healing pain of truth? In this video, we'll peel back the layers. We'll talk about why the truth shatters us, how the lie protects us, and what happens when we finally dare to see clearly. Stay until the end. There's a moment of inner revelation waiting for you, one that could shift how you see your past, your choices, and your soul. And here's the real twist. Sometimes, the truth doesn't just hurt more than the lie. It kills who you thought you were, so that someone freer can be born. Ready? Let's go deeper. We don't fear truth because it's wrong, we fear it because it strips us bare. At our core, we are beings torn between longing and fear. We crave meaning, connection, and authenticity, yet we sabotage those very things when they inch too close. Why? Because the cost of truth is high, it demands we let go of our illusions, our roles, our coping mechanisms. As Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. The lie, though fragile, offers comfort. The truth, though liberating, offers no anesthesia. Carl Jung believed the greatest danger lies not in the darkness outside, but in the shadows we refuse to acknowledge within. And it's these shadows, the unresolved wounds, the forgotten traumas, the buried emotions, that form the unconscious patterns we obey without question. We avoid silence not because silence is empty, but because silence echoes. It brings us face to face with our inner conflicts, our longing for freedom versus our fear of responsibility, our hunger for love versus our terror of vulnerability. This inner division is not a flaw, it's the human condition. We are creatures of paradox. We want to be seen, but dread exposure. We want to grow, but resist the discomfort of transformation. Like a bird conditioned to believe the cage is safer than the sky, we cling to limitations that once protected us, but now imprison us. Viktor Frankl observed that man is not destroyed by suffering, but by suffering without meaning. And in our effort to avoid pain, we often choose numbness, mistaking it for peace. The lie becomes a mask we wear for so long, we forget it's a mask. We fall into patterns, subtle, invisible rituals of avoidance, staying busy to avoid reflection, pleasing others to avoid rejection, chasing success to avoid facing our own emptiness. And each time the truth tries to reach us, through a failed relationship, a quiet night, a moment of honesty, we flinch. Because deep down, we know, the truth demands change. And the unconscious hates change more than anything. But awareness? Awareness is the beginning of freedom. What if your greatest enemy is not the world, your past, or other people, but the part of you that pretends everything is fine? How many of your failures repeat themselves not because life is unfair, but because you're reenacting an inner pattern you haven't dared to face? Maybe the addiction isn't to pleasure, but to escape. Maybe the fear isn't of rejection, but of being truly seen. And maybe the comfort you chase is just a clever disguise for avoidance. Gabor Maté says, the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. The truth doesn't just hurt, it exposes. You weren't born broken. You were born into a world that taught you to wear masks. As a child, you may have learned that love had conditions. That being your full self came with punishment or silence. So you adapted. You shrank parts of yourself to fit in. You became what was accepted, and disowned what was real. Jung called this the birth of the persona, the mask we show the world. But behind that mask lives everything you exiled, your grief, your rage, your tenderness, your truth. And here's the catch, what you repress doesn't disappear, it waits. It shows up in your relationships, your procrastination, your chronic anxiety. It whispers through your body and dreams. The more you run from it, the louder it becomes. Until one day, life forces a confrontation, a crisis, a betrayal, a loss, something that breaks the illusion and drags you inward. These are not punishments. They are invitations. Viktor Frankl called suffering the opportunity to find meaning. Pain can be a portal, if you stop running. So ask yourself. Who are you without your distractions? What truth have you buried so deep that even you forgot it was there? What would happen if you stopped blaming life and started listening to your soul? Most people avoid this confrontation their entire lives. They build comfortable prisons and decorate the walls with achievements. But you're here. You're listening. Something in you is ready to wake up. And that something is the part of you the lie couldn't kill, the part still longing for truth, no matter how much it hurts. Real transformation doesn't begin with a breakthrough. It begins with a decision, the choice to stop running. Not from others, not from the world, but from yourself. From the stories you tell to feel safe. From the emotions you label as too much. From the truths you've locked away, hoping they would rot in silence. But they don't. They wait. And the moment you stop resisting and start listening, something shifts. That's the turning point. Not fireworks. Not sudden clarity. Just a quiet moment of honesty that opens the door to a deeper you. Carl Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The darkness isn't evil, it's unacknowledged. Your pain, your anger, your shame, they don't make you weak. They make you human. And the only way out is through the uncomfortable questions, through the stillness you've avoided, through the patterns you inherited but never examined. There's no shortcut here. But there is something greater than escape, ownership. Taking responsibility is not about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming your power. When you admit, I've been living a lie to protect myself, you're not weak, you're awake. You begin to see that most of your suffering didn't come from the truth itself, but from the resistance to it. And slowly, you learn to sit with the discomfort. To breathe into the pain instead of avoiding it. To welcome what was once exiled. That's when the healing begins, not when you fix yourself, but when you stop abandoning yourself. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is presence. Awareness. The courage to look into the mirror and say, this is where I am. And I'm willing to see. No more pretending. No more masking. Just you, with your fears, your hopes, your contradictions, all held in the light of consciousness. This isn't about becoming whole. You already are. It's about remembering what the lie made you forget. The truth may hurt. But it also heals. Not all at once. Not without tears. But deeply, patiently, and for real. And once you taste that kind of truth, one that doesn't judge but reveals, you begin to understand, the pain was never the enemy. It was the messenger. There is no final answer, only the beginning of a deeper honesty with yourself. The truth isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. A willingness to pause, to notice when you're performing instead of feeling, hiding instead of revealing, numbing instead of healing. We are not here to be perfect. We are here to wake up. And that awakening often begins with a small, quiet question: what am I not willing to feel right now? That's where your work begins, not with control, but with awareness. Today, I invite you to become your own observer. Watch how you react when someone challenges you. Notice the urge to scroll, to escape, to please, to explain. Notice how your body tightens around certain truths. These are not flaws. They are clues. Each reaction points to something deeper. And if you follow those threads, with compassion and courage, you may find that what you feared was never the truth itself, but your disconnection from who you really are beneath the layers. If this message stirred something in you, like this video so it reaches others. Comment below with what part spoke to you the most, and share it with someone who's ready to confront their inner patterns. But above all, take this beyond the screen. Let today be a turning point, not outwardly, but inwardly. Ask yourself, not once, but often, what truth have I been avoiding, and what would change if I faced it? And if this content spoke to your soul, watch the video that's appearing on the screen now. It might be exactly what your soul needed to hear today.